hear sound?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we have
Okay, I'm
success.
not going to touch anything.
Okay, touch nothing else. All right, so welcome to Writers Connect. This is the second of our interview. This one is actually a planned one this time. We had Mason Fitzy on last week, and this week we have Tamara Lush. Tamara is, let me just read from the official website. She's a Wattpad writer and star. She was actually one of the first people I met on Wattpad when I joined the Stars program, the paid stories program, way back a couple of years ago. It seemed like forever. Tamara writes.
It was more than a couple of years at this point.
No, don't say that to me.
It was.
Okay, well, Tamara writes steamy and heartfelt romance. She is a 2018 RWA Rita finalist, an Amtrak writing fellow, and she is a Wattpad star. I believe your stories have over like a combined 25 million reads on Wattpad.
Maybe not that much, but a lot.
Okay, yeah, you actually have to do the math at some point, but you're definitely one of Wattpad's more popular and people read your stories, and they read a lot of your stories a lot.
People do, and I'm very grateful for it.
Well, it's great how you've come off of actually publishing on Amazon and come over to Wattpad. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, actually, so my romance journey kind of went in reverse to how it usually happens, I think. I was actually traditionally published with two of my books, my first two books, and I got an agent pretty quickly. I was very fortunate. And then I decided to go indie, and I published a bunch of books, like a dozen books indie. But I also started publishing on Radish, which I also love. My book, Constant Craving, was originally published on Radish, and that was the book that was the finalist for the Rita Awards. And I indie published that as well. And then I started publishing on Wattpad. I saw a lot of synergy between Radish and Wattpad. And then I started to get more and more followers on Wattpad. And I loved the interactive nature of Wattpad and the connection with the readers. And so then Wattpad actually asked me to be part of the paid program. At the time, it was called Next Beta. And I did, and then eventually I decided to go all in on Wattpad because I felt that's where I felt it was the best place for my fiction. I felt that that's where the readership was, and Wattpad supported me in making money, quite frankly. So all three things, all of the things that I wanted were in one area. So I took everything off Amazon and put it all on Wattpad, and I have no regrets.
How many stories did you take off Amazon?
I think it was about, at the time, maybe 10. Everything now is on Wattpad, except I also write cozy mystery under a pen name, and that's traditionally published. And that because that is a very specific genre that generally doesn't have the readership yet on Wattpad. So, and that's for
I may have heard of you. Is it like a Tamara Lush or something?
Tamara Lush, yes.
Something completely separate?
Yes, completely separate. Although you know what? Maybe now is the time to break some news. I can break some news on this podcast.
Oh, you can?
I think I can.
Break it.
I will be putting a mystery on Wattpad sometime this year, probably in the summer. It's called Gator Queen, and it's going to be a rom-com mystery. It's kind of a blend of steamy romance and cozy mystery, and I'm so excited to bring it to my Wattpad readers and the Wattpad community as a whole, because this is not a genre that I've put on Wattpad. It's not a genre that's on Wattpad often, and I'm so excited to bring Gator Queen soon to Wattpad.
Oh, you're going to be bringing the steamy, cozy mystery.
Steamy, cozy mystery.
Okay, cool. Well, today we were talking about your book, Drive.
Yes.
Oh, darn it! My thing is all backward, but just picture it. Okay, yeah. I gotta figure out how to flip the camera. Yes, but the Drive is your recent book from WattpadBooks, and
yes.
It's actually available in paperback.
In paperback.
How different is this one from the version people may have read on Wattpad?
It is like so different. there are other, like, so on Wattpad, like that book had a huge journey. So I originally wrote Drive, the concept of Drive. Thank you, author Maxwell Stiles. I appreciate that. I originally wrote Drive as for a Harlequin contest, an online Harlequin contest, and it was originally titled At the Italian Billionaire's Command. And it was about a Formula One driver falling in love with a pit crew member, a very sort of snarky, sassy Southern belle who used to be a beauty queen. And I wrote the book. Harlequin asked for a full. I was very excited. My agent sent it to them, and they ultimately passed. Harlequin often does. Harlequin has very strict, ideas of what they want their category romance to be. So my book was 50,000 words, and there was only one other place that I could submit a book, a romance of, at that time, a romance of that length. So my agent submitted it, and they liked it. And that publisher said, well, we'd really like the heroine to be in a less masculine job because she's a pit, she changes tires, on Formula One. And it's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, that's the point of the whole book, is that she's in a masculine job and she's in a masculine, a man's world, right?
And she's excelling at it.
And she's excelling at it. And she wants to own a Formula One team. She comes from a wealthy family, and she decides to work her way up and wants to learn from the ground up so she can eventually own her own, essentially, Formula One team. We call it Formula World for trademark purposes in the book. But it's like Formula One.
Yeah, I knew someone actually had a comment about why isn't it Formula World? Sorry.
Right. It's a trademark thing. It's a trademark thing. But technically, essentially, it's the world of Formula One, but we call it Formula World in my world. And so then I put that book up on Wattpad, and it started to get a lot of reads. And Wattpad put it in their paid stories program, and it got a lot of reads, a lot of comments, and they offered me a book deal with it. And, that just goes to show that if your books are rejected, if publishers reject your books, there may be other avenues for your work. Don't just think that because you're rejected from trad publishing that self-publishing won't work or that Wattpad won't work. Not every platform is for everybody. Not every publisher is for everybody. We have lots of options now as writers, but not everything will work necessarily. You can't always be popular on every single platform. I didn't do that great on self-publishing. I did okay, but I found that it took a lot of marketing, a lot of money, a lot of time. And at the time I had a day job, so I didn't have that time to devote. It cut into writing time. So, you have to just decide what platform is best and what's the best fit for you.
Yeah, I think one of the comments that a lot of us Wattpad writers get is some people have a very distorted view of what publishing is, and especially they may attack writers in the paid stories program and say, if you want money so much, why don't you just go and self-publish? Why don't you just go and get it published? And the reality is so much harder, and there's so many more obstacles you have to jump through than just going onto a site and uploading it.
Right. And the reality also is, I think most of us get into writing, the majority of us get into writing because we want to write, right? Like, that's what we want to do. We want to write. And when you self-publish, and even to a certain degree when you traditionally publish, but when you self-publish, you have to do everything yourself. And that it's hard. It's really difficult. And, especially if, say, advertising, marketing doesn't come easy to you. I was a journalist for many years, and honestly, marketing is it's not my strong point. It's, I don't watch a lot of TV. I don't consume a lot of ads. I have a really hard time discerning what the public wants in terms of ads. And that's a very different thing than what the public wants in terms of reading and books. I think I have a good handle on that. But if you don't get people to actually read your book, it doesn't matter. So at my peak, I was spending $200 a day on Facebook ads, which is quite a lot. I made my money back, but I didn't make enough of a profit to want to continue doing it for a while. Now, I'm not saying I won't do it ever again in the future, because I might. I keep all doors open. But at this point, I want to write. And that's the reality, is that Wattpad allows me to just write.
And Wattpad also has the actual resources and the connection, plus the name, to get reviewers on board. I remember when I was trying to get my first reviews, I had no idea of where to look for even professional reviews. And just reaching out to bloggers and seeing all of the different resources, you doing all of this on your own, just as your name, you get a different reception as an author than as the company saying, we want you to review our next book. Here's Drive. Take a look. Here's your copy, and send us a review. Tell us what you think.
Right. As just an author, you know, I can't tell you how many times I've asked bloggers, email bloggers, message bloggers, would you like to read my book? And I've gotten no response. I mean, like, probably more often I've gotten no response than a response. So it's hard. It's hard getting eyes on your book. I mean, that's a fact regardless of the platform. And I think that sometimes people on Wattpad will say, I hear other authors say, oh, no one's reading my book. No one's reading my book. Well, we've all been there. Like, you can, I know people look at me and say, oh, she's got so many reads and people read her. But, you know, I have been through that before. I've been through no one's reading my book. And I have books on Wattpad that are not that popular, that people don't necessarily read. I can't explain why. Sometimes it's just subjective.
It's weird because I think a lot of us can really say that not all of our books are getting as much attention. People assume that just because you have 2 million reads over on one book, every single book must have all these great great reviews and reads and everything. I know I have a book online right now that is only at 313 reads, and it's been up for several months. Whereas I have other books that are in the thousands and 10,000s or so, and this is something that goes across all of the other authors, as successful as they are.
Right. It could be the cover. It could be the blurb. It could be maybe people aren't interested in the first chapter, or they're not interested in the characters. It just, there's no telling. And I've been consistently surprised on Wattpad what, you know, of my books, what does resonate. A couple of them, like Constant Craving, I knew probably would resonate. But I will say this, and I think this is really important. You know, everybody says, and I often think, oh, maybe I'm too old for Wattpad, since most of the readers are a lot younger than me. But the reality is, my book with the most reads, which is coming up on 6 million reads, is Constant Craving. And the heroine is 32 and 33 in the book. So it's not like she's a teenager. It's not a YA novel. She owns a newspaper. She's a full-fledged adult and owns a house. And so I think that there's this perception that, you know, only the teen books get reads, and that's just not the case.
It absolutely is not. I think we can find different levels of engagement with what readers are looking for, and you can't really say readers are going to be looking for this right now. They're so varied.
Right. I mean, I have a good idea. I think I have a good idea of what my readers want. You know, not every reader on Wattpad wants this, but I think that my readers want, you know, steamy stories, romance, swoony heroes, you know, kind of alpha heroes. I think that, you know, obviously that is a large chunk of romance readership regardless. So you do, you know, if you are interested in getting reads, yes, sometimes you do have to write to the tropes, or, you know, consider the tropes. Like, I know that Gator Queen doesn't necessarily fit neatly into that category. So it may be a harder sell. I don't know. I'm hopeful that people will come out for it. It is way different than like my Mafia story, which is getting lots of reads, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. But, you know, it's worth exploring. And I think that's the other important thing about Wattpad, is that you can explore, and it's not like this career killer. Like, when you're self-publishing, you kind of have to stay in a certain space or get a pen name for your other genres. It's harder to skip around in genres when you're self-published. I think you have to really stay in your lane.
I actually, I want to go back to the difference between the Wattpad version and the printed version of Drive.
I didn't really answer that, did I?
Well, you did, but I don't think people really understand why it's so much different because of all the different structure of a printed book than a Wattpad book.
Yeah, well, and part of it is, so the book that I originally wrote was 50,000 words, and that's not a very long book. And so to make it worthwhile to publish in terms of profitability and print and everything. Generally, that's why romance novels are between 80 and 100,000 words when you see a printed book. That's why they're not shorter. Basically, it all comes down to print runs. But we wanted to also explore, you know, deepen the characterization. We wanted to deepen the conflict. And so I ended up actually adding a new character. I added additional conflict. I added new scenes. I kind of softened the hero a little bit and made him a little less alpha because he was really kind of over the top. And I made the story a little stronger in terms of the heroine. I kind of beefed up her backstory, and I took out like one key thing, actually one key detail of her backstory that's in the Wattpad version. It's not in the print version. So her motivations are completely different. And I also set the stage for book 2, which is Crash, which is on Wattpad and will be coming out in 2023.
Oh,
and
yeah,
again,
so 2-book
that
deal.
book, I also have had to add 30, 40,000 words to it. So there was a tough, Drive was a really tough edit. Super hard, but really worth it.
I don't know, well, so much goes into the editing. You were talking about adding new characters and just really building out the world of Drive. Have you had to do, when you're on to the next project, do you actually keep that in mind about having to add new characters, or do you just let it all out and write and deal with the edit later?
Well, I mean, the next edit was Crash, so I had to do the same thing essentially. And these are, I think what made it hard was both of these books, Crash and Drive, were written years ago. And now I've had to go back recently and revisit those characters. And so in my mind, the characters are like happy and riding off into the sunset and, you know, having their sexy times and doing things.
How many years ago?
I had to go, I'm sorry?
How many years ago?
For Drive, it was probably 2016.
Oh.
I mean, a while. Crash was written, you know, since then. I think Crash was written actually technically for the next program, so I guess 2018 maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was the hard part. So, and the third book in the series, Bird, is not written, so that'll be like a fresh new book. And I think that my writing skills have improved since the other two, you know, originally writing the other two.
That must be really difficult. I know the I know the pain you feel, because I actually have to go revisit my book to do a sequel to The Canefield Killer, and that was set in 2006. And every time I read it, I want to cringe because it was written so long ago, and my style. I'm a completely different person right now. So that, yeah, so people don't understand the change in a writer that actually affects the writing. It's not just about the ability. It's that you are a different person revisiting an old story. So
right, and especially like think about 2016 to now, like all that's happened in the world and how that has affected us as writers. Like we're completely different people. I'm a completely different person than I was in 2016. I mean, I at my core, I'm my same person, obviously, but like my worldview is very different now. Like we've gone through such cataclysmic things in the last, you know, however many, it feels like decades, but you know, what is it, 7 years, 6 years? I don't even know. It's so hard, and I'm a different person. And part of that, like writing mafia romance, I would have never thought I would write mafia romance when I started writing romance. But like my worldview became a little more bleak, and I couldn't, at the time that I started writing Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, I didn't think like about writing a soft hero because I couldn't muster it in my mind because I was just so angry at everything.
And you've also started writing a vampire novel.
I have started writing a vampire novel. I have, again, that's like,
Come on,
I would have never thought. But like, you know, I'm writing a vampire novel set in the world. It's called The Awakening. It's on Wattpad. And it's set in Boston in 1986 because I just wanted to escape to a time that seemed simpler, that had no technology and no current politics and no pandemic and no war, or, you know, there was a Cold War back then. It was a little different. But, you know, I wanted to explore something that a simpler time in my mind.
Okay, well, we actually read it on the First Chapter podcast. So make sure to check it out. It starts off with not a bang, but it sucks you in, and it really is like a combination of all your writing just coming into the vampire format. So I mean, I'm seeing a little bit of Anne Rice possibilities there, but I just hope you continue it and finish it.
Thanks. Well, as you know, vampires are fun to write. So I mean,
Yes,
you have your own vampire thing going on. So and you're doing vampire. You're about you have some things going on with your vampire stories.
Yeah, well, they're coming, and they're going. They're funny, but we're here to talk about you today. I mean, maybe next time you can interview me.
I would love to.
Okay, we have to do that. Okay, so we are promoting Drive, which Drive is currently on sale on Amazon, in all bookstores, and you can go online to WattpadBooks.com and order your copy, or just go to Amazon and do a search.
Yes.
Can I read from the
yes,
back?
I would like to add one thing. If you would like an autographed copy of Drive, my local bookstore, Tombolo Books, Tombolo. You can look at it in I mention them a lot in my Instagram. Tombolo Books has signed copies of Drive. So they will ship you a copy if you order it from them, and you get the benefit of ordering from an awesome indie bookstore, woman-owned, and I highly recommend Tombolo Books. This is a shout out to them, and visit them if you're ever in St. Petersburg, Florida, but they will ship your book to you, and it's autographed by me.
I'm going to read from the back now. Can love take the checkered flag? Savannah Savvy Jenkins is no stranger to the crude comments and leering look she gets at the track. Out to prove that she can succeed in a man's world, she joins Formula World champion Dante Annunziata's crew. Dante is determined to finish his season on top, and Savvy is a distraction he doesn't need. Convinced Savvy has no business on the team, Dante is prepared to do anything to get her off. But when a paparazzo catches the pair in a compromising position, Dante and Savvy are in for a fomance for the ages. As their fake attraction turns real, they realize there may be more to life than simply speeding through it. This is Drive, coming from Tamara Lush, available on WattpadBooks. Anything you want to say to carry us out?
Thank you for having me. Thanks everybody for coming out. If you have any questions for me, I don't know. Does anybody? I didn't see. Does anybody have any questions that we can answer? That's out there in comment land.
Yeah, we can actually put the link. Well, not a link, but we can actually. How's the best way to do this? Because Instagram doesn't do links, so we got to figure out the way. Right. Okay, look at that. Thank you, Thanks, Abby. Thanks, Caroline.
Thank you. Yeah, so if anybody has any questions about Wattpad or publishing or anything, you can message me on Instagram. I'm trying to keep a lot of my social media to Instagram now because Twitter makes me rage and Facebook is stupid. And I'm on TikTok too, but really I'm mostly on Instagram. So you can message me. Feel free to put in comments.
Or the website.
Or the website.
TamaraLush.com.
Yep, or on Wattpad. I'm on Wattpad all the time. I'll be over there actually editing Kiss Kiss Bang Bang all this week and doing some fun stuff. Maybe I'll go live next week to talk about what I'm doing with Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. So
make sure to follow Tamara Lush on Instagram, on Twitter, and on TikTok, where you can see her doing stuff that are TikTok-y.
I'm TikTok-y. I'm not dancing. There's no dancing.
Okay, fine. No, I guess no TikTok stuff.
No, there's TikTok stuff, but no dancing.
Okay, fine. You can find her on TikTok doing non-TikTok stuff on TikTok. Right. Okay, well, that'll be fun. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. We do have 3 minutes left, so anybody have any questions? Yeah. Now is a good time.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer questions about anything. And thanks, everybody, for coming out. I'm really impressed. It's the middle of the day. I'm back.
Oh, okay. Just as I was wrapping up.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
I accidentally, I don't know what I did. Hey, thanks, Monosyllabic. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I don't know what happened. Like, this is actually my first live, so I don't know.
Well, this is my not my second live. Well, okay, fine. This is my second live talking with someone. So this is all okay. There's a question. What was the best part of writing?
Okay, what was the best part of writing Kiss Kiss Bang Bang? Well, the best part is about to come because I am rebooting Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and I'm going to be updating it with new chapters. So the best part is coming next week. So stay tuned for that. I have some announcements soon about Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and you will be getting some gifts and some things will be happening, and there will be new things happening with Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. So stay tuned for that.
All right. Anybody has any questions? Now is a good time. Okay. I think we're good.
Okay, cool.
So anyway, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
I'm Rodney Lee Smith with Writers Connect. Thank you for joining us, and make sure to check out the next interview coming up in 2 days.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.